Hey everybody, it's Steve Cook with Premier Guitar and PremierGuitar.com. Today I am holding, not really holding anything. This is the LR Baggs Electric Bass Stadium DI. Now you may not know LR Baggs by name if you're an electric bass player. That's okay. They've been making a lot of acoustic products for years, and this is their first foray into the electric bass sort of setup. This is a DI. It's sort of self-explanatory, but it's not. Now watch. This is also a DI. I'll explain. So what they've done is, at its core, a DI box is supposed to be a great sounding way to get your quarter-inch, your guitar, your bass, whatever, to your recording setup or your front of house setup. And so this right here, by itself, without even turning anything on, is a great sounding bass DI. Now, what they've done is when you activate it, you have controls like a bass preamp. By the way, BT dubs for all you kids scoring at home. The engineers at LR Baggs are bass players. So they all got together and they sort of said, okay, what do we need in a great sounding bass DI slash preamp? And this is what they came up with. So let's walk through these features real quick. On the top side, very self-explanatory. We've got the ins, we've got the outs. We've got your XLR out on the top. We have volume, gain control. We have attack, growl, and compression. I'll explain these shortly. Nestled over here is what's called the fat switch. Then we have the drive switch, which is hidden in here as well. Right here is the battery tester slash VU meter. Now, if there were a 9-volt in there, which there isn't, you'd be able to push this and you would see how much battery life you have left, which is very handy. But this also runs on Phantom, also runs on the 9-volt here, and it also has a VU meter. So look at that, fancy. And it all is very helpful. So there's a pad, there's a +4 -10 on this side, and a ground lift on this side. So again, making it a very versatile and very usable DI in any situation. Today's signal chain is very simple. It is the Fender Franken bass, drug behind the car, left out in the rain, to the LR Baggs Stadium Bass DI. It is a DI, so we are in fact running direct. And we're going to the Apogee Quartet into Pro Tools. Now, one thing I want to show you about this that has nothing to do with this, yet everything to do with this, is that LR Baggs also includes this. It's a handy case. Stick it in your gig bag. It's a little hard case. It makes perfect sense. I love it. I love that they include this with the DI. Very cool. So the controls on this are not conventional, and one of the reasons is the bass players at LR Baggs, aka the employees, the engineers, got together and said, okay, if we have a DI or a preamp that has, let's say, EQ on it, you get your 3-band EQ, you have to sort of monkey with it and dial in, and it doesn't always work. Compression, same way. They just, bass compressors, they're going to compress every frequency. And that's not exactly pleasing to the ear either, because as bass players, we need certain things that come through and certain things that don't. So you're not going to find the traditional, hey, I need more treble knob on this. But what you are going to find are some very, very useful things. Again, these controls, they may be complicated at first, but they're really not. So these are all plus minus controls. So right now I've got, as I played the opening bit, this is 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock, this is about 2 o'clock, so I've got a little bit of the compression on here. What the attack does, the attack, it is spiked at 2.7. Okay, and so what that does is that will give you more or less a 2.7. And so that'll add or subtract basically what they feel is the best sort of mid-frequency for bass. And so I'm going to play a little bit where I just kind of dial it all the way back, and then I'll go ahead and roll it up for you so you can hear the difference. This is at 12 o'clock. We'll roll that all the way back. You can hear how the mids are dipped, and it's a lot warmer and it's a lot more subtle. Now let's go the other way and get aggressive with it. Now you can hear that even with this thing dimed, it's not over the top and it's not crazy, and it actually brings out the nuances of this Franken bass. This is kind of a thuddy, dull bass, and all of a sudden this thing kind of sprung to life. Which is really nice. So I'm gonna roll that back to 12, And this right here is the growl control. Now what that does is it sort of emulates tubes. And tubes, they break up, just like every good Hollywood romance. They will break up, and they break up in a way that that we like. Sorry, but we all sort of want that tube sound, and that tube sound is the warmth and then that slight breakup. If you listen to great bass recordings, you listen to great just solo tracks, you know, they're never really super clean. They sit in the mix just right because they are dirty. Go back and listen to some of the ISO tracks on Jamerson or the Beatles or whatever. You know, Jamerson dirtied up his sound at the console, and you listen to Paul's stuff, and it's all over the place, and you know, and that's any Paul, you know, Stanley, I don't know, whatever. But you have a dirty bass sound, and so what they've done is they said, okay, let us get a little bit of that. It's not emulation, but let us break up the tone just a little bit so it sits in the mix. Again, for recording, for live, you don't really know you need it until you hear it. So I'm going to start at 12, I'm going to roll it back, and then I'm going to roll it all the way front. All the way down. And again, a little thin, a little hollow. Let's go ahead and get that back up, and I'm going to go all the way. It's nice. You can hear the breakup on the low frequencies. And now I'm going to go ahead and get kind of crazy. This is the drive switch, and if you want full-on craziness, if you want that nice broken up sound, you can hit the drive switch. But what they want to do is they want you to kind of use this in tandem. So instead of going full-on like this, which can be useful for some people, with the drive on, you kind of just roll up a little bit of the growl. And you can hear it breaking up just sort of on the top end, which will sound great against some drums tracking. It really will. But then you can kind of get that to taste and get a little bit more dirty. Which sounds really, really cool. So we will take that drive off there. And while I'm here, let me talk about this fat switch. The fat adds +3 or +6 at 150 hertz. So we can go, so hit that volume. So you can add just a little bit of bass bump on there. Kind of hard to get to, but it is a set it and forget it kind of setting. And I've been hitting my volume at the same time, so I apologize for that. It's a little tight, but the whole time it has been at +3, which has been a nice little bass bump. Now let's talk about this compression. So again, just like the rest of their controls, they're only letting certain frequencies in for the compression. And it's because when you compress the whole bass signal and all the frequencies, it doesn't feel natural. Sonically, there are things that we want to hear that aren't being let through. And so what they've done is they've tailored this so that the good parts are coming through and the sort of bad parts are not. And so it just makes it feel better. When you're overly compressed, it will definitely alter the way you're playing, and so they have sort of eliminated that. So I'm starting it at the 2 o'clock position, but I'm going to go ahead and roll it all the way back. We'll do the clockwork thing again. Here we go. Let's roll this back up. Go extreme compression. Extreme compression. I'm hitting it kind of hard, and again, it doesn't feel weird, it doesn't feel squashed, it doesn't feel crazy. And it's a very natural sort of bass expression. So, you know, in summary, you've got a DI here that can do everything. You know, you can take this into the studio, which is nice. You don't have to have racks and racks of stuff. You don't have to have your compression stuff. If you just want to get some great sounding bass tones, go in with this. If you want to help your live setup, you don't want to be left to the dogs with their no-name DI or just a not great sounding DI. So you bring this, and even if you don't use any of these features that are on front, you can just turn it off and you have a great DI. And I guess in a pinch you can use it for other things too, in case you needed it for an acoustic DI or something. But the bass features on here are extremely usable. Every type of player will gravitate towards this, and the components all make sense. They're not normal, but they all make sense from a bass player's point of view. So go check out one of these DIs for yourself at your local store, big box, mom and pop, or otherwise. Take it to the gig, take it to the session. You're gonna like it. You really will. I like it. I like it a lot. Anyhow. For Premier Guitar, premierguitar.com. This is Steve Cook. Make sure you check out my written review on the LR Bag Stadium Bass DI in the print version and online, Premier Guitar. While you're online, subscribe to our YouTube channel because there's all kinds of great stuff there. And you can keep watching over and over and over and over. We'll see you real soon. Thanks.
Don't forget to sign up for PG Perks, your all-access pass to exclusive gear giveaways and discounts on PremierGuitar.com.